Welcome back to the Late Night Madness on W Fool Radio. You tune into the only show where chaos comes complimentary. The only duo brave enough to talk nonsense with conviction. Ladies and gentlemen, Shabba, Kate, two talking fools.
I'm the loudmouth legend, the static crack transmission.
We are the Two Talking Fools. I am Kate. Shabba's not here with me yet again. We are just two average, and I mean average girls taking their phone calls to the podcast. And then Shabba would say, "You're welcome." Welcome back. Today is Saturday. I believe it's Saturday, February 23rd. It's either 21 or 23rd. Can't remember. Welcome back to the podcast. This is another solo one with me. Just in the interim while we are taking on a local project. I've talked about this before. If you guys follow us on social media, you know about it. The people of Stafford. This is a segment that Shabba and I are doing where we are interviewing people in town, people in our town that we admire, people with history, people that have just been here and helped shape it to be what it is today. Local legends, everyday people. So we have that going on. And we start our first interview with our first guest next Saturday. And I am so excited about that. So we're dividing and conquering right now while we're going through senior year for two of my child and one of her children. So just bear with us. And at the same time, we don't want you to feel a lapse in the podcast because we have a lot going on. It's all coming together. There's more production than people realize. However, there's a lot of things we need to talk about and there's a lot of things that come to mind. And so I'm going to record these and upload these as we go. And then obviously Shabba's going to be in the local stuff. And then obviously when her and I get back to the studio. All right. So there's your short story, long answer. Welcome back. So, holy shit, what the hell is going on? 2026 is like starting off a little bit rocky just as far as, Eric. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. McSteamy. Eric Dane, famous for being McSteamy in Grey's Anatomy, dead. Early 50s. ALS. Unbelievable. Grey's Anatomy, easily one of my most favorite shows of all time. So much life ahead of him. This came on so fast. I believe they said his diagnosis was like 10 months ago. Come on. I'm not going to sit here with you and dwell and feel like, everything is coming to an end. I don't feel that way. I don't want you to feel that way. I don't want to portray it that way. I just want to express my sincere condolences to the entire family. And I want to express my sincere condolences to the family and I cannot believe that 2026 is honestly starting out like this. So many people have gone. Hey, all right. So one topic that I want to talk today with you guys about, and it's been coming up a lot. And the reason why is if you were born in 1980, even the 70s, I shouldn't even start with 1980s. I say that because I was born in 1984, but to everybody that remembers MTV, I was on TikTok just doing my thing, and I came across this cooking show with a very eccentric male. And upon further inspection, the male happened to be Puck. Does anybody remember Puck? Does anybody remember Puck from Real World San Francisco? I believe was it season 1? I believe San Francisco was season 1. So Puck has his own cooking show. And I thought, what better way to say goodbye to MTV forever than for Puck to have his own freaking cooking show? It's wild. I don't even know if I would eat anything he's cooking. Not because it doesn't look good, but because just like, I don't know, cleanliness, but nothing new with Puck. So anyway, I was thinking about MTV, thinking about that even though it's a show, it's a television network, even with that in mind, it had such an impact, especially on the generations pre-social media, pre-phones. Would MTV work now? Obviously, probably not, because we're so into short form content. We're so into those 30-second videos, those 1-minute videos. People are not interested in getting into, Titanic's length movies, 4 hours long. So things have changed and just everything's changed in the world. But back then, when you didn't have phones or anything like that, you didn't have social media, you had your television and you had radio. And MTV, for so many of us, MTV, and for some was VH1. It was like one of the go-tos. Like if you had preset radio stations in your car for your television, if you were of age, one of the presets you would have would be to have MTV. And I feel like anybody that's listening to this that can add clarity or just tell me that I'm being accurate here with what I'm saying. Why do I feel like on cable it was like 52, channel 52 and channel 48? Maybe it was like VH1, MTV, or I don't even think we had Bravo. But anyway, I just want to talk about MTV. I just want to pay homage to something that I think was so important. And as it quietly like drifts off in the sunset, it feels like a piece of our childhood is going too. It feels like a piece of us is going too. There was a time when television didn't just play music, it defined culture. Before streaming platforms, before social media, before algorithms quietly decided we should discover, like, or obsess over certain things, there was MTV music television. And if you grew up in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s, MTV wasn't just something playing in them. It didn't just show artists, it shaped how we understood fame, style, rebellion, and identity. Entire generations, mine included, learned what was cool, what was controversial, what was edgy, and what was iconic from a glowing screen sitting in a bedroom, a dorm room, a living room. So today's episode is a time machine, a deep dive, a nostalgic rewind into the era when music videos were events, when VJs were trusted guides, and when reality television quietly began reshaping entertainment forever. Before MTV, music was primarily an auditory experience. You heard songs on the radio. You bought CDs or cassettes. You studied the album. You knew the artwork. But artists themselves, they existed at a distance. MTV changed that instantly. Suddenly, music had visuals, personality, narrative, emotion you could see, not just hear. A song became something cinematic, something immersive, something you didn't just listen to, you watched. Music videos transformed artists into characters and mythologies. Michael Jackson wasn't just a performer, he became a visual storyteller. Madonna was not just a singer, she became reinvention personified. Nirvana didn't just play grunge, they embodied angst, chaos, and raw authenticity. And now they're claiming that Kurt Cobain's death is now ruled a homicide. So all you conspiracy theorists, maybe there's another one for you. I don't know. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist too. But anyways, that was interesting. Videos became cultural moments. Premieres felt like events. You gathered around the TV hoping to catch that one video everyone would be talking about the next day. Missing it meant being out of the loop. Watching it meant belonging. There are so many videos that I could probably, if I started hanging out with people from back in the day, there's so many videos that I remember. One of them that you watched because it was crazy awesome for the time was Jamiroquai, Virtual Insanity. I feel like that one was just one that you always kind of remember. There is something uniquely powerful about anticipation. You couldn't click a link, you couldn't search on demand, you had to wait. You sat through videos you didn't care about, genres you didn't love, because patience created excitement, because maybe, just maybe, your favorite song was next. When it finally appeared, it felt earned. That rush of recognition, that immediate emotional hit, that sense of, I've been waiting for this. In a world now defined by instant access, it's easy to forget how much joy lived inside delayed gratification. MTV turned waiting into an emotional experience, into suspense, and into ritual. And if I can make this personal more, I remember when MTV Real World Road Rules would show a show, like it aired. Let's just say it was every Monday at 9 p.m. My friends would come over. We would like sit through, advertisements and things like that. And we would sit there and watch it because otherwise that was it till whenever the next time it aired. And we didn't know what that was. Imagine that. Like there was no instant gratification like we get now. And now we're all used to it, ourselves included. We don't even remember the inconveniences that we had back in the day that we don't have now because of the way life is. It's just unbelievable. Total Request Live wasn't just a countdown show. It was a battlefield of fandoms and a mirror of youth culture. Artists competing for the number one slot, fans calling it relentlessly, crowds screaming outside the studio windows, Carson Daly acting as ringmaster of teenage obsession. TRL dictated conversations. It influenced popularity. It created shared national moments. Everyone saw the same rankings, the same interviews, the same performances. Culture felt unified. Today, our media is fragmented. Personalized feeds, isolated algorithms. Back then, we experienced pop culture together. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. Now if you don't want to see something and it doesn't matter how big it is, you do not have to see it. You can live literally in your own world. But back in our day, it was the big deal. Like these events on TV, though minute now, that was what we had. That was what we had. And we shared that together. We totally, totally shared that together. MTV influenced far more than music taste. It shaped aesthetics, fashion, language, and attitude. Clothing styles migrated directly from music videos into malls and high school hallways. Haircuts, makeup trends, body language, confidence. MTV became a style blueprint, whether you consciously copied it or subconsciously absorbed it. MTV helped construct identity during formative years. Let me take you further. Let's talk about the rise of the VJ, because VJs were more than just hosts. They were cultural translators. Cultural translators. They contextualized artists, trends, scandals, and moments. They felt human, approachable, familiar. Not distant celebrities, but guides. They framed how we understood the world of entertainment. And then something happened. Something changed. Reality TV began slipping into MTV's DNA. The real world opened the door. Real people, real drama, unscripted tension. It felt new. It felt raw, addictive, but it also marked a turning point from watching artists perform to watching people live. Before the Kardashians, before the Real Housewives, we were first brought this with the Real World and Road Rules. And I've been watching them on reruns. They have them, I think it's on Paramount. And I'm on season 1, San Francisco, Rachel, who's now a host at Fox News. You had Pedro, who was a huge advocate, living with AIDS, active in the AIDS community. That was a time, that was like something we were learning about it for the first time. We were learning education about AIDS from Pedro, from real world. Think about that. We were learning it in health class, but we were learning about it in real life from him, from MTV, from this reality show. That's where it started. My life, if you ask me pop culture wise, if you look at my yearbook, The Real World and Road Rules is part of it. That was our reality. That was the connection we had to outside world. I lived in little small town Connecticut. I wasn't exposed to stuff like this before. I was learning stuff all the time. That was our influence. When you think about it that way, it's hard to believe. Then think about this. Then you had Laguna Beach. You had The Hills, Newlyweds, Punk'd. MTV shifted from music television to drama television. Reality became glossy, stylized, engineered. Pauses became storytelling tools. Conflict became narrative fuel. We stopped just admiring talent and began analyzing lives. Comparison intensified. Celebrity culture evolved. Fame became both more accessible and more constructed. Think about the days of Ed Hardy. Think about talk about a brand, Ed Hardy, Kristen Audige, Von Dutch, you know, draping celebrities in this, having them wear it out in public, having it be on the magazine cover, everybody wearing it all the time. And that's just one example of hundreds. Maybe the reason why us millennials look back more, maybe we fantasize about the days before, maybe even more so than others. I'm not sure. I can only speak for myself, but maybe it's because we've felt the biggest shift. Remember, we're the last generation to remember life before technology, before social media, let's just say before cell phones, before social media. It's hard to believe that I get to be honored enough to know both worlds. I think it's an honor to know both worlds, to know the world. It's both a blessing and a curse. I think the blessing is technology has advanced a lot of things in the world for the better. Certainly, you can't just stay stagnant. However, remembering the simplicities of a world before, there's something beautiful in that. Knowing how beautiful the world was before social media and technology is something that is a gift. And I honor it every day. And so maybe that's why I fantasize about the past. It's not because I want to go back to the past, because I love my life now. I couldn't imagine my life without my daughter and my husband. I couldn't imagine that. But what I'm saying is maybe I'm fantasizing about the simpler times because we just are living, we get to experience two different worlds. And I think it's pretty interesting. YouTube changed everything. Videos became instant, searchable, replayable. Convenience won, ritual faded, new source of content. I remember the days of YouTube just starting. We miss MTV because it created shared cultural memory. Everyone saw the same premieres, the same countdowns, the same chaos, the fashion, the drama, the music. MTV was communal. It was for everybody. MTV didn't just play music. It shaped generations. And whether you lived through the music video golden age, the TRL era, or the reality TV explosion, MTV was part of your story. So I'm going to leave you off with this because I could go on, and I just want to open up the discussion because I could talk about this forever. What was your MTV era? What was your favorite things? I'd love to know. I've been kind of putting that together for a little bit there, making sure the wording's right on some of those things because, it's just as we advance, what's going to come after this? What's going to come after, where we're at now? How can technology advance even more? That's where my brain shuts off. And that's where I know that I'm not going to be modern day founding father, certainly, because I can't, every time there's new technology, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And then I say to myself, wow, how the fuck did they figure that out? How did they do that? How did they create that? So anyway, I was just going down memory lane and just thinking about that. And I was in the basement a couple weeks ago and looking at some old CDs that I had burned and some CDs that friends used to burn, and a dear friend of mine who's no longer here, and he always used to make CDs for all his friends, and he was a DJ and he had some of the best stuff. He really turned me on to like techno music and house music and stuff like that. So, all good things, very good memories and whatnot. So, anyways, if you have any experiences, you have any thoughts about this, I would love to hear. Oh, I see Patty right behind me coming on in strong. twotalkingfools@gmail.com. You can send me any questions or feedback. I'd love to share it with the rest. Other than that, have a great day. Stay tuned for more information. I have more podcasts coming up about some very interesting things. Anyways, take care, guys. Be well.
Transmitter spitting hot takes heavier than a broke printer. Yo, Kate, pass the mic, let me loosen the screws. Cause I'm riffing off the dome with these two talking fools. I talk movies, snacks, conspiracy rants. I derail every topic like I'm breaking the tracks. Laughing too hard, nearly dropped my seat. Shabba on the vibe, keep the chaos on beat.
I'm the calm in the storm till the storm says nah. Then I'm laughing so hard I forget where we are.